I am not a financial advisor. These videos are all meant for educational purposes only. All complete Trader Academy videos are my personal opinion and perspective. Trading carries a high level of risk, and all results are your own responsibility. Please always demo first. Hey everybody, welcome back to CTA Review. Today is March 24th, Tuesday, 2026. Hope you had a good day today. So, we talked about a couple things. Look at these bitches at the end of the day. Look at them. Look at these silly guys. Anyways, we talked about on the bullish side, we would, kind of lower low, lower high, come back into this area here and then pop up. We actually just did this. So we weren't sure if it was going to be this idea I talked about yesterday, depending on seasonality and, situations, right? Where it would, we'd come back in, make a lower high and then roll over. And at first this was looking like it. And sure enough, now they fucking last second want to. Do you think buyers and sellers? I don't give a fuck if they say if hedge funds and companies and this and that are settling their trades and this and that bullshit. I don't give a damn what anybody say. You ain't gonna just sit here like this today and then out of nowhere in the last minutes just do this. Oh, how convenient. All the sellers here. So you have to recognize the low resistance liquidity run that's very possible here. And you already got on the below side here, kind of jagged, meaning, they swept that low. They came and they swept those guys, and it's very suspect to come all the way back up. This is why we say you want to take profit, generally speaking, before you reach targets, right? And here's a perfect fucking example. This is what manipulation looks like. And also, this is also said before where, when you had these two manipulation type of moves, people are going to get hurt. You want to stay away. Can you find your day trades? Yes. Even from me selling from up here, holding it all the way to get in here. Look at this here. When I talked about there's a gap right here yesterday, look how they did it. I said there was an imbalance, a volume imbalance inside there. Remember that? Go watch yesterday's 50-minute video. But look how close. We came almost, 4 points away from it. And they did not hit it on purpose. Why do you think they did this? They did this for anyone holding the bag that knows how to trade. That's why they had to quickly do what they did here. I mean, I'm letting you know right now, it's relative to say, are we going to come to that gap or not? I mean, look, for example, here's a gap and here's a gap and they never came to it. Are you going to fucking keep trying to trade towards it, for a year? No, but the point is that we understand that that's there. And it's likely for it to go to there. But in this situation, what I was just kind of even saying, this is a scenario of where, okay, we are expanding for a bull run. So I'm not married to those gaps. If you struggle with this understanding, by the way, I'm just mentioning it. But like in this case here, they'll come to that gap, right? For example. But, in that situation, and I'm not saying that it's not like that was a weekly gap either or anything. It's really an internal gap, but this is also their possible way of saying we're fair. Yeah, we came to it. We didn't need to seal it. Why do you think they didn't seal it though? Like, think about that real deeply. Why would you come this deep knowing damn well there's no price action in between the open from Sunday and when you blasted through that area? And it's not like it's below this swing price action. That little gap that's in there, that's on the 15-second and the 5-second. If you're wondering if you didn't watch yesterday's video, it's hovering above that. So for me, this is more of a reason why to come back into it. But look how convenient they didn't get it. Wow, I'm telling you. So that being all said, lower low, lower highs. When I give these ideas, it's because of the fact that, okay, well, it makes sense to come back in, squeeze some of the breakout area. I talked about that high specifically. Notice how that high is obviously also coupled with that breakout area and that low, right? So, and the gap, the high of the gap for this week. So the idea is to come in and to squeeze some of that and then push back up if we're bullish. And that's kind of like what they did, right? So where do you see that? We'll take a look at it. You know what I'm saying? Take a look at it. Does this look similar? not this one. Almost that one. That one looks similar, don't it? Makes a low, makes a lower high, makes another lower low, and then shoots up. Okay, let's take a look how that looks here. Oh, okay. Well, we make a low, we make a lower high, we make another lower low, and then we shoot up. Oh yeah, yeah. That looks about right. Yeah, that looks about right. Wow, how did I do that? Interesting, right? Seasonal data, man. I'm telling you, that's what I use for my secret weapon. But anyways, let's get back to this. So, point is that we came up yesterday. We came up 2 to 2.5. We took out that liquidity. This can be a lower high if it is going to roll over. I'm not saying it can't roll over from here, but with this type of price action, it's making me want to think something different. It depends. We'll see if this becomes a swing high here. Can they retrace back into here and still sell off? Yeah, sure they could. That's exactly what they did here. Remember, we took this low, we came down, we retraced all the way fucking back up for that retracement. Almost 100% retracement, right? And it still broke lower. So where's your swing? Where is your leg? Or where's your structure? Where is your range? I'm sorry. That high and that low, as an example, you came up here, that's a 70. Let's just say this is a 70 on the chart. I don't even know what it is. I'm just totally talking. But we, as far as this whole bearish big conversation goes, it's not out the woods. It's not like the daily. See, the daily, notice how the daily, yes, it came above the previous candle, which was Friday's candle, I'm saying. Monday did that. It came back in. So the buy program could kick in, right? But it remains to be seen. So the daily is still bearish, and the weekly is actually still bearish. So the higher time frame narrative and all this shit that's happening inside, well, they're scamming a little bit. So where's the proof? What I just showed you. So knowing that we made this high and then I made that retracement. See this expansion? See this projection right here? 101.5. If you this 1 and 0, you see this right here. I did this on the last two up candles on the 1 minute. Go take a look at that, and it's projecting down. Well, you see the 1 and 1.5. That's what we did all yesterday, and then today we tap into the 2. So notice how they didn't come any hair lower for this breakout area. This would have been extreme to hold for, but guess what? Where did they end up at 9:30? They were pretty fair about it, bro. They came to the 25%. Notice how that 25% is sitting there as that support and it's holding price. So now they're going to break through. Yeah, for you to bounce back like that and come all the way up here, you'd have to never make a new high again. Or yeah, they're running for those highs. But back into this conversation, showing you the narrative in the context, again, that sweet spot, look how, so 9:30 opens here, and this low, pre-9:30, does not take out that low. So what is the best trade today? In my opinion, the best trade today is this one here. Well, it pops up. I'm allowing this. I'm already in the trade when I was selling up here, actually. When it pops up here, I'm circling this immediately first to then come back down into here. Why? Because that's simple flow. Why? Because let me just squinch it out for 1 second. See this low here? That's the lower high. You come down, it doesn't make the new low yet. It doesn't take that low out yet. So right here, I automatically know that 9:30 is either going to run right through or it should come up first. Why? So it wants to take out these guys before they come down. That's a liquidity. That's a liquidity and balance and breakout level. I'm circling it. The opening range gap is here. I already know it's the opening range gap. I already know the size of it right at 9:30 and where the settlement is. So the settlement is coupled with this opening day gap. Okay. So those two things here with the easy run on liquidity, because the thing is we didn't have, it's not like this high. It's not like this failed high took out that high. This is a failed high. And it's not like, these guys came and they sniped him a little bit, but it's still too smooth and even. And it's not like this guy right here ran that guy before coming down. So this shows me more that we're coming back up for the possible day. right? You do get these speakers going on. It's a shakeout. I can continue the conversation. I originally thought it was just going to be a pump dump, but I did understand it could be very tricky with that structure. And sure enough, this is a prime example. And I'm laughing because, again, they did this at the last second. Come on, bro. Quit playing. If you were trading today, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. So let's get back into the video. Now I can actually start it. So, God, there's so much to say. But I have also the first imbalance of Monday. It's this line right there. It's dragged out. You see it? I have it all the way dragged out here. And then on my 1 minute chart, you can see it coming right here. Notice how we play around on that. And then we come and hit that older weak gap there. And then we come right through the first imbalance here of Monday. You see it playing around, come underneath it. Look how it bounces, stops there, comes, breaks through it, resistance, bink. Look at right there. Come on, man, you can't make this up. You can't. So I'm gauging the understanding of it flowing down. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So when I'm saying all this to say this at 9:30, I want to see the price pop up here, take them out, all right, and then turn around and sell off for the new low. Because remember, this was not taken out yet. Plus, why did I have, this is the same circle from yesterday in that video that I made for 50 minutes. This circle is the same circle that was there. And I said I couldn't, it was in blue and I was like, I don't expect to reach it today. But I might not reach today. Your price doesn't go in a straight line generally, right? So this is the same circle. I just dragged it over. What is that circle composed of? The settlement of yesterday. Remember, we blasted through in the opening range gap. So I said the settlement. I said the projection of the -2 to 2.5 is sitting right there. Then I said, I obviously have the 25% of the current week gap right there that we've literally bounced off of perfectly today. And then we had that gap, the volume imbalance and that shade right there. So look what we do real quick. We pop up, we come and we sweep them, beautiful. And I said, why am I highlighting the circle like this? Because I'm expecting them to probably hit the 50 as well. Maybe they don't, maybe they do. But I wanted to see a week and technically not even hit the 50. Sure enough, it doesn't. It comes right up, sweeps them. I didn't even draw it here. I could have. And then my circle, I had this before the day started at 9:30. Literally, I put this there. It tags it. That's a lower high. Watch the structure issue. Lower high. It's a really shallow lower high. But then what? Raids. This is the best trade of the day. It pops up, comes in, sweeps. I would immediately take it, and then break for the low. I'm measuring these bodies right here with these consecutive candles. You can see 1 and 1.5. Here's the issue. If it doesn't keep going, then that's probably like as far as it's gonna go. Number one. Number two, then I measure this range, this high and this low that it made before, and then you can see -20, negative quarter and point quarter, and then you can see 0.5 here, and then we pretty much stop right there. It doesn't extend deeper. Notice how we do come into my circle though. But where? Just the top part. That's why I circled the way I did it. Could it have dipped and stretched? Yeah, but apparently they didn't want to do that. Why? Because they don't want everybody holding the bag from here. They're going to rush up. Could it have really kept going? Yeah, but I said yesterday, it's probably really tough for it to reverse just from that one candle. That's very tough to do. So that was already putting the conversation on tilt of thinking. But look at the structure. This is where I want to make sure I tell you this. So, and I'm going to do it on this chart here. Let me shrink it a little bit here. So you'll see, okay, just from here, lower low. So lower high. Yeah, it takes out that guy, but it doesn't take out that guy. And then, oh, fuck. Okay, let me include that little funky ass lower low, lower high that I mentioned. And I'm going to actually stop it right there. I'm going to move this over. Do you see this right here? Do you see how this leg, look where that lower high is at 9:30. This is what sucks about this day, is that this lower high is literally like at the lower end of this whole leg. Why is that important? Because if I put a fib here, to the here. See it? You notice how you notice how this you notice how when we make a new lower low, it's possible for them to sweep back up for a lower high. That means that you'll see price most likely come back up to where? I'm just talking in general. Forget where it ends up going after that. Look at that. Well, what does this show you here? Where would this price action be in my drawing? It would be this fucking area right here. You see this? You see how this is shallow in this leg? You get it, right? See, from that high to that low, you put the fib there. Let me fucking drag it on there. You're probably like, no, I get it, bro. Okay. I'm deleting that now. So inside, in between that leg, they hunt for that shit, right? So all right, and I'm gonna even change this to a well, let's do a lower time frame fib for a second. It's right here on the chart. Let me make it thicker. So you can see it. It's not a lot of shit on the chart, right? You get what I'm doing here. See, what happens is when that motherfucker is sold off from there and it extends out, look where 50% is. 50% is right where that motherfucker sold from, right? What's above that? Other liquidity. So even if it wants to come back up and make a lower high and still fall over, it has a high chance of it retracing deeper. So I don't know why I don't know why I take forever to say certain things. I'm not the best at explaining things maybe, but in general speaking, if we're in a fractal expansion coming down, then this is back to a retracement, right? So you understand that even when you come down here, would you want to buy this? Yeah, you could. And it sure was a great buy to retrace back up. But what if it kept going down, right? So that's the trouble with today. But that's why I say this is the best trade from here to here. It really is, because that's an agenda that we know is most likely going to happen. Why? Also, the fucking confluence of things that I said here. Okay, you notice how they put the 25%, the settlement on the 25% of this current gap. Look at that confluence. Is it a coincidence that we bought from there? Now, the dirty shit is when now you can see me. I got this as the first imbalance, this right here. And you can see I measure it back up, right? And then 1 on 1.5, 2 to 2.5, and then 3.5 to 4. You can see that we technically almost hit that shit there. But and I'm not saying it can't go any higher, but if I was to have refined it just using the bodies of the down consecutive candles, you'll see that 3.5 to 4 is really nice. Why do you think it snapped right to it? Oh, that must be algorithmic, because the confluence of this 3.5 to 4 is coupled with that liquidity and that old weak gap. That's an old weak gap that we just fucking tagged. And that's from actually last week's gap. Oh, even more important because it's current. So, it's referencing right back to wipe anybody who was selling from there. This will be hilarious if it sells off from here. I don't know if it would. We only have 10 minutes left in this day, but that's why it was going to be very tricky. So being flexible and being logical today was very key, because that retracement back up to here, that's still a good buy. Look how difficult that was, right? But making equal lows, getting back into sealing some more of the opening range gap, getting out some of these guys, hurrying back up to get to these guys specifically, and then notice how they come deep. They come right back to the 50 here, playing around, kind of consolidating, going sideways, come deep again to get these people here. Motherfuckers. Look, and here is the best part. Notice how the first imbalance of today is literally where we took off from. So if you watch my 50-minute video yesterday, which if you're complaining, you got, shame on you, because of the fact that when I gave you that example yesterday of when we pushed up yesterday and we shot right to the first imbalance of Thursday, and I told you that it was a command where it went there, shot, came back, then it left there and shot right back up. Like it's the command is literally saying, when you get here, I want you to reference this level and shoot the other way, for example. In this case, that's exactly what we did. So we, what else What else you want me to say there? Super fire there. But and now look at the first imbalance of Monday. We are literally hugging it in a way, coupled with the present day gap and yeah, the settlement. I'm gonna drag it out. You see it? You see how it's using these levels, right? You think someone knows this? No one, general population don't know this, right? But how could you be involved? Well, again, still not taking the liquidity. They've already made this tough on the bottom side. The top side, though, it's like, bro, okay, we get it, man. We get what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But and sure enough, here is where it's weary, and then they run it. So, excuse me. What else can I say there? I need to make them short. I really want to make them short. We had a higher low here is also the issue. Some nice divergence right there with Dow. We had lower lows there and there. They already ran their liquidity. They were all cool about that. So that's why this was more prominent of retracing back. At the least, even if you didn't know if it was bullish or bearish, it was a very high chance for it to retrace. And then here you had a lower high that failed. Did I say it right? Yeah, lower high failed. Higher highs here. And because it failed, that's also kind of giving direction in a way. So we did push up even more. When we pushed up here, we had lower highs here, higher highs and higher highs. All right, that did make it sell off. And then you can call this a divergence. This is an internal divergence. So you see this little liquidity pool and lows. Here's a lower low with NAS, and then notice how we have higher lows with S&P and Dow. So right there, that kind of the fuckery just pushed up, right? And that's pretty much it, man. There's nothing else you could say. Well, again, notice how they did this at the last second. I mean, come on. That's definitely, rigged. And you had lower highs here. That was nice for the push down for the new low, by the way. But yeah, anyways, I can go into, before I even forget, because I'm going to forget, this, if you take a look at this, here's the other issue with this, is that I said, are they going to use this as support? I'm going to drag this out just for you. And I even mentioned it in that 50-minute video yesterday that, that this would be an imbalance here. I used the 15-minute. And then if they use that, well, this is why I was saying about using this area as support, right? So basically coming back for a retracement, using this as support in the equilibrium area to then pop up. Now, this all happened, but it didn't take out that high. So now we have to have a new conversation now, as we do every day, really, because as you notice, well, before I even mention all that, look at the chart, right? So you can see this, right? I'm sorry, does this look bogus to you? It's not on that time frame. Here's the 50%. You can see it, right? Yeah, this is how I make videos long. I'm gonna make this shit. I need it to be strong. There you go. Yeah, you can't miss that one. All right. Yeah, you definitely ain't missing that. All right, pimp. Look where we bounce from. So I'm understanding that too, and you have to be aware of that. That the bodies are really respecting it. We're staying in this area. That 25% of the current week gap was also a key, but then look at. So there you go. I mean, you can't make that up, right? So what else? I'm gonna delete this because it's an eyesore for me. But if we're bearish, you obviously want to see it come underneath it. As of now, yeah, it's still bearish. I mean, I really don't care what anybody says. It's still bearish. And look at this, bogus, no bodies here, of a bearish body. Do they have to? Not really. the only caveat with this really, really, really going back to being bullish, I don't even know how they could do that with all the shit that they're talking about with war and stuff overseas, but it's just foolish. But let's just say this was the biggest rug pull, and we go back to that conversation, and we don't get these legs here with the structure back, then what will happen is that this will be one of the greatest supports ever, and I'm just literally blindly just drawing this shit. I'm not trying to pick a spot. Literally, I'm not. I'm really not. What the fuck? What is that? So, it's like, okay, here's your biggest retail support, and it pushes up. And then later I said it in yesterday's video, in that 50-minute video. So if you didn't hear that, you got to go watch that then. But I'm not going to keep continuing. But yeah, then we could break that area eventually. But again, I still have to look at this as like, okay, this is they're just creating lower highs. And they're pushing back up because it is what it is. And for example, this area here, I mentioned this example here yesterday where we kind of retrace and we take longer. I feel like that's a little, let me move this over so you can see both at the same time. I feel like this is a little bit too premature as well, meaning that like you see how like this area here where we broke these lows right there and then we pop up and then we come down again, right? And we pop all the way up. Indecisive candle, we come back into the range, and then we break down again with days. So I just feel like that's still the case. Why? Because look how that candle closed yesterday. Number one. Number two, look at the bodies. The bodies generally tell the story. And then we just roll over again for another lower low day. Again, remember, I know that the current week has already laid out its range. So, but I just still feel like this is the case. But even though the way that they're trying to say that we're gonna really, how did this move like this? Why would this move? Did I use bodies or something? How did this happen? I'm just noticing something. Hold on one second. I am on the daily. If I go to a weekly, am I using the bodies there? No, that's weird. Did I move it? What the fuck? Why is this 421? What's there? What am I? I'm sorry, I'm tripping real quick. Hold on. Why is that there? I didn't fucking move that, did I? No. I don't know what's going on right there. I'm tweaking right now. Wait, bro. Whoa. Why is everything fucking moved? I didn't do that, did I? I swear I can go bring up previous videos. What the fuck? Everything is moved? What, am I tweaking? Did I select everything and move it all at? It looks like everything got moved all at the same time. Yo, what's the deal? Am I crazy right now? I'll do this shit on my own time. I don't know what the fuck that is. Anyways, that's the oddest thing ever. Bro, it moved all my shit. What? Oh, no. Whatever, bro. I don't know. Moving on. Damn, that's fucked up. I gotta redo all those. Um. Anyways, fucking 1 hour VIX. Just not really going anywhere. Not very helpful. And just as you see, very very manipulative sideways shit. Not really helping the cause here. But hold on a second. This last little push. How is that even possible, bro? You guys are what? Oh, the market's closed now, obviously. But still, how the fuck? So we'll just start from here. When this pushed up with that high right there, this is a 1 minute. That's when we dumped. So today was generally a dump pump profile. It wasn't a pump dump. So in a shakeout, you won't know kind of which one it is. But if it's whatever side it ends up being on is what it is, meaning that we dumped first and then we just went up slowly, right? With structure. If it was a pump dump, we would have pushed up first and then it would have been going that way, right? Even with big lower, low, lower, high swings, which is fine. But here you could see that we pushed up first. That would push us down. And then ever since the day was, it was staying in the same spot, but it made a lower low and a lower high structure. And then, that's what kept us kind of at bay. But the structure here was more bearish and we were more bullish on our structure. As silly as that may sound, the whole point of this conversation is that this is more of a retrace situation. If this is like the bottom and it's bullish, this would be more of the retrace, and then you would see an expansion. So far, we kind of saw that, but it's still not out the woods. So, anyways, I know I'm being a dead horse with that conversation. And then you see dollar here also fucking this is manipulation, people, just so you know. This is all it is. So, yeah. So, faking the funk with pushing up here, that would push us down, and then at the last second they want to push it down, which is where we end up going up, right? So, what are you going to do? So, same idea here. I talked about it. And I said this was very difficult, man. For it to be a reversal spot from right here, even though I know we don't have any bearish body and we should still come down, but maybe they just want to. I said it was going to get funky and I wouldn't even want to trade today, possibly. I said that shit with the seasonality. That's why I said it yesterday, where the 23rd, I was talking about the 23rd, 24th, we sell back. I expected today to be more of a bearish day, and even if they wanted to be buying tomorrow, they could have bought tomorrow and pushed up if they wanted to. But I guess that buy, that's why I said that when it retraced, the buy again would happen on the 24th, 25th. So today's 24th, tomorrow's 25th, and we've kind of already got that motion going. If you had the seasonal data, you'd understand, and I have to stop talking about it, because if you don't have it, then you're like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? So let me just cut that off here. Does it have room to stretch? Yeah, it wants to maybe get some of these guys again. Who knows? But it's still bearish. I don't care what anybody say. It's still bearish. So, but that's why I said go reference this. Didn't I say this shit yesterday? That we had a big push up. That's what we got. Then we had a retrace back. And then we got a big push up again. This is actually kind of like where we are right here. Like we did all this. Stop. What does it do from here? Does it keep going or does it retrace back again? Now from this conversation, does it stop here? And then after it got more of the breakout traders, which we did not do today, does it then go back up again for a bull run? Or does this roll the fuck over? You see it? So it's like either that way or it's either that way. You get what I'm trying to say? Where in this scenario, does it roll that way, continue, or does it roll that way? That's going to be very clear. You'll see, and eventually it'll break out one of these or go to one of these ideas. Man, I can't believe I got to redo this again. I'm really sick right now because these I got to go back to the first. That's okay. I could do it with the bar replay, I think, right? That's fucking so stupid, bro. Anyways, and then did I finish here? So they had a very small dump and then pump. See, this is definitely more clear of buying. This is definitely a little bit more easier to see. It was very difficult with Nas for sure. But as it dumps here and seals, from the previous almost to the tick, but notice how they left a hair, right? They did that shit again. Same idea with what I talked about with that gap. A retrace back is very logical, but see these equal high, real obvious. Notice they make those, we run away from it, but now it's time to get those guys, right? Coming above here, 25 quadrant, taking off. It, it's pretty neutral there. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't know how else I could just put it. It's pretty neutral price action there, but it looks still weak. Still looks weak. This shit don't look as confident and strong as fucking that. Right? Right now, you're sitting right here. You're sitting right here. You're sitting right here. You're sitting right here. I don't know what else I could say. I just still feel like it's still premature to just go up right now. I really just feel that. So we'll see what happens. And then S&P here fell short, rated, and I told you about the divergence, right? That was the key thing here. These motherfuckers right there. See that? So it's like, oh shit, you better run through. Nope, they ain't doing it. My bad. Okay, so S&P comes outside that gap. Look at this. See, this is why when I said about Asia and London, when I have that data accompanied with what I was talking about maybe happening today, but yesterday I said, look at this shit, man. That shit's difficult. So being a buyer is ain't nothing wrong with that. Look how they squeeze all the way back, bro. Stuff, buddy. Could you? Where's your model? Where's your? What do you see that jumps out the chart that you could see every day and make money from? So there's definitely trades. Look at the sequence. Look at the sequence today. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I'll just count that as 5 because it just goes up one more way, but 5 comes back. 6 breaks out finally. 7, right? And you're like, oh, what are you talking about? Well, dude, I mean, it's moving like that. It's just how it's moving. But the general gist is that when we made this lower low, they came up to squeeze these people here, right? Came back deep to squeeze them, and eventually just the general conversation is to really push back up. So intermediate short-term low to the left, short-term low to the right. It could be a long-term low, or is this the intermediate term low where we're just it's just a swing. Before we push back up, or now is this going to be the intermediate swing with that long-term swing? And then you have short-term swing to the left here, and then this is their intermediate swing in the right, and then we make another swing here, and then we roll over. We'll see, I don't know. Locking right back into the present daily settlement and also fucking gap. Not much to say there. I don't know. Does it just shoot to the moon from here? It's just very hard to say that, but with all the people going to be losing jobs because of AI and this and that can increase stocks. So the whole thing is like, oh, well, everyone loses jobs, ain't going to be able to, own stocks and this and that. The value goes down, which I agree with, but they can flip the narrative and say, well, it can go up because now that the company is doing so well, they don't have to pay. Their profit margins are going better because they don't have to pay workers and blah, 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 right? And people using Claude to get their job replaced and having their computer being ran by something like fucking Claude, which is crazy. Anyway, I'm doing too much, but where do we go from here? Well, we've pretty much. It's very difficult to call, with this fucking goofy ass indecisive day, right? So if it stayed a bearish day, that would have been more logical. They did not. They changed it back up. What does it look like here? It's kind of like this situation. I'm hoping it's this situation. Not hoping, but I'm still bearish. So I'm not looking for buys. But you see this candle here, this March 19 on Thursday. You see how we came down and we made an indecisive day? Like, hey, could this be the same idea? Indecisive day. What happened here? Look at March 20th Friday. What did it do? It opened up and didn't even go deep at all. It was just still a little wick and then it sold off. So right now when we close here, we did close here, and then does this just pop up a little bit and then roll right over? That's what I'm looking for, because this is not still out of the picture. You're like, well, how does that possible? Well, we retraced deeper, and then the lower high gets made. In this case, it was really fucking deep. They came up high, but then roll right over. So that's why this is still not out of the cards, even though it looks horrible. When it comes to, if I was to say, forget the economy in the world, and that's why I kept that conversation long yesterday about that same story. But if we're in a bullish scenario, you'll go back to what I was drawing. I don't need to draw it again, man. I fucking drew it yesterday, right? So what that means is that man, bro, I'll be doing way too much. In this case, it does this fuckery, fucking little double top, retraces back. But then it's the end of the month, okay? And April pushes it up. I'm going to leave it like this for a second because this gets fuzzy here in the first 2 weeks where it comes up and retraces back. And I told you that major big buy is on like the 14th of April or whatever the fuck it is, 13th or whatever. And then it just buys up. That would be the most perfect world. If that's the 30 year. If it's the 5 year, we're doing this right here. What we're seeing on the screen now where we just buy the fuck up. Okay. And if it's the 30 year, it's also the same. 30 year is just going to roll out. So I think I've said enough. So you guys take care. God bless.